have some knowledge on action research. But anyway, I am going to share what I have, what I know, because I am actually teaching action research in ESL at College of Education. And I think this is my, the 10th year teaching the subject. And I also, every now and again, there will be invitation like this to, to share knowledge and action research. And also, sometimes with the sharing of knowledge, we will be able to work together and collaborate on, the research that you intend to do. So without further ado, I will start sharing my slide. Okay, before that, before I share the slide, I would like to just inform you guys that there are several approaches to action research. And we have participatory action research, we have collaborative action research, we have the some kind of quasi-collaborative, quasi-participatory. But what I'm going to do with you today is just to expose you to only two types of action research. That will be collaborative action research and also participatory action research. I hope you can see my slide here. Let me start from the beginning. If the slide is not moving, please let me know.
Okay, sure, we'll do.
Okay, let me start from the very beginning. My computer is absolutely slow, so I hope you can bear with me. Okay, let me stop sharing for a while. Let me get the slide right. Okay. All right. So action research is actually a practitioner's research. Yeah. So basically, when we want to do action research, or anyone wants to do action research, that person might. Well, I cannot say must be so, but that is that is a basic of action research. You have to be a practitioner in whatever field, right? But basically, action research is done in the classroom, or in, for example, in university setting, and for example, a kuliah setting, an educational setting, basically. So Dr. Shamsul asked me the other day whether or not the staff can join, the administrative staff can join doing action research, or can join this session. For me, there's no problem of them joining, but then action research is not one-off. It's not like the normal research that we do. That is, once we have got the finding, and that's that, right? But action research is there is a cyclical process, which I'm going to let you know afterwards. But of course, we will go through the slides first, and later on, probably after 1 hour or so, we are going to do a bit of a kind of hands-on, whereby I would like you to think of an area of interest, and probably come up with kind of a very quick intention whether that can be an action research project or not. Yeah, so hopefully we can do that. Okay, I think I'm going to start with participatory action research first. Right. Participatory action research, right? Okay, let me see. Normally, a participatory action research is done when other entity is involved. For example, if we have, let's say you are working with an organization, you are working with Pusat PPD, Pusat Pendidikan Daerah, you are working with other NGOs, for example. So, but if you are working with your colleague, for example, at your department or with another colleague at a different institution, we don't call that participatory. We call that as collaborative, which I am going to explain to you in a while. So participatory is working with organization that will help you to support the research that you want to do. Okay, so here it says involve community residents, clients, other constituents in social change-oriented research. So why we do action research? We do action research because we want to see improvement. Especially action research is basically to look at improvement in the classroom, in the teaching and learning. So that's why we do action research. And action research is not just you get funding and complete your research and share your findings. We want to do action research because of the improvement that we seek to find. And let's say if we have the findings to our action research, what's next for the teaching and learning process? Okay. So participants work with a facilitator, this one is for participatory, to identify a community problem, develop research methodology, collect data, and analyze findings. So what is in participatory, you are basically working with other entity apart from your own organization. The data is then used to make recommendations about how the problem should be solved. This is normal. This is normal in any research. Yeah, participants advocate for funding, legislation, or government action to adopt the findings. So that's why we need the other entities, or we need some other government sectors to be involved in the participatory action research. So in short, PAR. So I think before we want to do PAR, we have to understand what basically is action research and how we can do PAR. PAR is a bit, I think it involves a lot of discussion, a lot of negotiation, and it involves probably more people than you think. All right. So the end result is to alleviate oppression or improve community or service quality. So PAR is more than classroom research. It is the community that we want to, the issue that revolves around community. For example, here in Gombak, maybe we want to look at the Orang Asli community and how we as the staff of IIUM can contribute to that effort. Yeah. So PAR is considered an alternative to quantitative research in which the researcher knows all. All right. So let me just put that like okay, better. All right. So assumptions made about the process. People who experience the problem are in the best position to conduct research, of course. So that's why when Dr. Samsul asked me whether admin staff and academic staff can come in together, yes, of course they can. But in order for us to conduct action research or any other research, we have to understand the fundamentals of research. And our colleagues, the admin colleagues, can help us. Yeah, can help us with, for example, with the nitty-gritty of the, for example, instruments, or they can help out with getting in touch with people from the different organizations. So that can be done, but the core person who is going to conduct action research will be the practitioner himself or herself. Okay. Participants can establish equal partnership with researchers that can be used to address community problem. PAR-related activities help empower members of powerless group, like I mentioned, for example, the orang asli, and it's a process, a critical component of community intervention. So that is a bit about PAR. So PAR can include both qualitative and quantitative methods. So this is something like a myth that I got a lot of this kind of questions from the participants saying that, oh, action research is just a small research, and it is done mostly using qualitative design, and that is wrong. We can use the whatever instruments that we have in order for us to get to our findings, and then with the findings we are going to forge ahead and find ways of whether the weaknesses of the outcome of that particular research. Then we can plan ahead, because later on I'm going to share with you what are the steps in conducting action research. All right. So it generally considered a subtype of qualitative research because subtype only. It incorporates the perceptions of participants into how the research is conducted and analyzed. Participants or constituents are equal partners with the researchers. Its focus is social change rather than simply on the production of new knowledge, and it helps us understand the experience and culture of population groups outside the dominant culture. So basically, when you do PAR, it has to be a collaboration or participation from the entity outside your organization, like I have just mentioned just now. Okay, so social workers in encounter. Okay, so these are some example of what others have done in using PAR. For example, community organization practice, develop program. When serving as an evaluator of consultant or community project, or you want to use it as a multi-system empowerment. So these are some of the example that where PAR can be used. Now, the purpose of PAR is to minimize power differences between researchers and constituents, and increases knowledge of participants and promote social change. So that is the fundamental reason or purpose of doing the PAR. So it is associated with two aspects of learning theory. That is the basic action research, principal knowledge flows from taking action, as well as the work of pedagogy of oppressed. This is the work of Freire. If you know Paulo Freire, pedagogy of the oppressed, he is from Brazil, in which he described a process of education for marginalized groups that involve mutual learning among teachers and students. So again, whether it's collaborative action research or PAR, action research is normally done in relation to education, in relation to teaching and learning, in relation to improve our practices, as whether we are the principal, we are the head of school, we are the class teacher, we are the facilitator, anything that concerns this. So action research is also done in, for example, in the medical field. For example, a lot of action research are done among the nurses. Nurses want to improve their practice, so they do action research because they are practitioners. So if you ask me, other than nurses and teachers, who are other practitioners, as long as they are practitioners and they intend to improve their practices, action research can be done, right? Okay, what else here? So these are all the purpose. Now, there's another word, action learning. So action learning sometimes is used to substitute action research, but actually, action learning is something slightly different. Okay, so action learning is a process that involves taking action and reflecting on that action to gain new knowledge. So action learning is taking action, but action research is taking action via the process that has been determined. For example, the first one is to plan. After the planning is the design. After the design is, and you can go on with the 5 steps of action research. So that's why action learning is part of action research. Okay. Participatory action research generally is not focused but addresses social problem. Okay, so social problem. For example, we want to know why our students are not participating in our online classes. We know that part of the problem will be the connectivity, but we want to know more. So this can be considered as a part of a social problem that involves teaching and learning, right? So if you would like to know how your students fare in their participation or engagement in your online learning, so you can do a little action research with that. Or if you want to have another colleague, a friend of yours, let's do this and plan together on how we can improve the students' engagement in online teaching and learning, for example. So you can do that, but in action research, we have to follow the steps that I'm going to show you later. All right. Okay, so this will be the explanation. I want to go to the advantages and disadvantages. So advantages: increased feeling of participant ownership of process or program. Of course, when you do action research or any other research for that matter, it increases your own, feeling of, okay, I can do this, and when I do this, I want to share the outcome of my findings with my colleagues at work. So in a way that it increases your motivation. So increases likelihood that data will be used. So the data and also the findings. Increases likelihood that the resulting program or intervention will meet needs of stakeholders and be culturally appropriate. So that's why PAR will involve other entities. So we have to share our findings with the organization that we are working with, because they will be working together with us. So participants develop skills and confidence and gain knowledge and information, and thus become empowered. If you have any questions, just stop me anywhere, because probably if you wait until the end, it will be, it's not fresh anymore. So if you have any question, by all means, please let me know. Okay, so if I will, if I have the answer, I will share with you. Okay. So for now, do I have any question? No question?
I think I do, but I think I'll wait for at the end of this slide.
Okay, you want to wait for more input? Okay, all right. So let's go on to the disadvantages of PAR: distrust and conflict among participants. Of course, when we involve other constituents like the PPD and other entities, there will be always this feeling of not distrust, but the shared responsibility. And of course, if the funding comes from outside and they will demand, Okay, we want this. But that is not action research. That is not participatory action research when you have got the funding and the grant is given to you and you carry out the research. So that is not action research and that is not participatory because the entity that gives the funding is not involved in the research. So to delineate between action research or participatory or collaborative with the normal research is that both parties or whoever that is involved will participate. Okay, length of time needed to develop consensus around goals, mission, and method. That's why PAR, it needs a lot more time than you doing an action research in your own classroom. All right, so it needs a lot of, you have to go through all the red tapes. You have to, go through all the do's and don'ts for that particular organization or with that particular organization. And then the need for training around research methods, data collection, analysis. So this is another disadvantage because probably the organization that you are going to be working with is not familiar with research. It's not familiar with design and probably less knowledge on how to do analysis, for example. So this is a big disadvantage when we work with other entities. The need for skill facilitation, coordination, follow-up on tasks and completion. And of course, when we do PAR, it involves a lot more people and a lot more planning as compared to collaborative action research. Money and organizational structure are needed to do all these things, and the group must be able to apply findings in order to achieve the outcome. All right. Okay, so the inability of the participants to reach a consensus in a timely manner can result in an incomplete project. So I have read quite a number of reports saying that participatory is good, but then there are a lot of challenges. So some of the challenges will be time and also the working together and to actually another problem will be to share the findings. Okay, so who will get ownership of the findings? So that's another thing if you want to do PAR. All these little things have got to be ironed out at the very beginning. Okay. PAR process requires a team leader or facilitator with some expertise in group processes and research. Okay, the facilitator or the leader may be a university-based researcher, social worker, or a community organizer, a paid consultant. If we have a lot of money, of course, we can have a paid consultant, a member of the constituency group who has previous training experience with action research. So all this, the description of a leader, right? But if you, let's say your kuliah or your department or you yourself would like to do a PAR project, I would say that maybe you want to start small. You want to start with a normal action, normal action research, or you want to start with a collaborative action research before going on to PAR. Okay. Now, conditions that must be met for a successful PAR project. Trusting relationship among members must be developed in order for a consensus about project goals, data collection methods, analysis, and so on. Training about research methods, data collection, analysis must be provided for the participants. Establishing a good organizational structure to support the team, provision of strong admin support and adequate resources for the project, skilled facilitator to coordinate the process. So these are all the things that are needed in order for you to do PAR project. Right. Okay. So I would want, okay, skills needed for facilitation. Okay, so the group leaders or the facilitators that have been appointed. So interpersonal skills such as engagement, cultural competency, when you want to do a research on, for example, you want to know, my example just now was the identifying why students are not totally engaged when they are learning online. So cultural competency, as I'm sure, as an academic, as a lecturer, you know what the strengths and weaknesses of your students, and you want to find more. So this is the culture of teaching and learning, right? Group facilitation and consensus building among the members of the PAR project. And of course, they have to have the research skills, knowledge of service delivery, community processes, power, economic, political system. So all this probably power, economic, political system, all depends on the type or the topic that you want to do. Now, types of evaluation approaches that involve organization constituent include PAR, empowerment evaluation, self-evaluation. So these are the things that we are going to do as the research is taking place. Okay, so we want to also have a check and balance. What is empowerment evaluation? What kind of evaluation should we have as a leader? And do we actually evaluate ourselves before we take on the PAR project? Are you sure that you want to do this? Is there any other alternative to PAR project? Can we do collaborative action research rather than PAR? So all this you have to self-evaluate, and if you have a team, these are some of the things that you may want to consider and discuss with your team. Okay, differences in approaches. So you have the participatory action research. You have as a consultant, you are the partner or participant of the project. But in the empowerment evaluation, you are the consultant. You work for the participant as a consultant. Self-evaluation works for agency and funder. So the self-evaluation project is from the funder themselves. Okay. So the purpose of you doing participatory action research is for social change. You want to change something. You want to change. You want to know. You want to improve something. Right? And of course, normally participatory action research is done to alleviate oppression in the community, for example. So that's why PAR is not as popular as collaborative action research. So I am done with PAR. I am going to go, okay, before that, let's ask some questions before we go into collaborative action research and the processes. So actually, I am giving you the more complicated one first before going to basics. But it's okay. Is there any question that you have? Yeah, you want to ask me?
I have a question. Not a question like that, but I'm just wondering. Could you share a little bit from your previous experience in doing action research, some interesting findings that you can actually share with us? Because I can see that it can be implemented in classrooms. Yeah. But as you say just now, it is leading towards change. It is leading towards improvement.
If you do a participatory action research, that is a social change. I have not gone into the collaborative one. Yeah, the one that I said, the basic action research. I've not gone to that one yet.
Okay, so if you are looking at, let's say, factors which are influencing, let's say, your students it's not operational factors, right? Culturally related factors. Can you share a little bit some of your findings?
Okay. Because I teach action research, and I ask my students to actually carry out the action research themselves. So, like I said, action research is practitioners' research, but my students are not yet practitioners. So this is something that I want to share with you. So they are not yet a practitioner. So that will be a bit, it does not actually fulfill the criteria of doing an action research. So what they were asked to do is to collaborate with the teachers in school. Okay, so once they collaborate, and of course, many teachers will try to avoid doing action research, because I don't know for what reason, but alhamdulillah, so far they have managed to do action research with the teachers, and quite a number have had done their action research in, for example, Indonesia, in the Philippines, of course, in our schools in Malaysia. So the little change that they have shared with the department in the school, or probably with other teachers, other English teachers in school, is, for example, why students are afraid to speak English in the classroom. So with the help of the full-fledged teacher, they collaborate and plan. And because, so this is another weakness, probably weakness on the part of the practical, student teacher, is because they cannot do the follow-up. Because in action research, you don't stop at one cycle. You have to move on to the next cycle to find out whether the students have the teaching and learning have totally improved or slightly improved, or are there any other rooms for improvement. So what, to answer your question, Doctor, we have had several, I think many, I would say, many successful action research projects. And one project in particular that I have done with my students from Indonesia. So what she did was to look at how students the research was done on choral speaking. And a lot of schools I think most of the school in Indonesia, they are not aware of choral speaking in English. So my student actually introduced choral speaking to increase their interest in learning English. And because of that project, that little project that the student had done, I was invited to a few madrasah in Indonesia to expose more students to choral speaking, just because of that little research. And they found it very fascinating, because, and I think Indonesian students, they are more creative in terms of executing the choral speaking itself. All right. So that was one of, I think, the one that I remember most. Others are, when I did it with my students, they have actually published their own action research. The students themselves, they published the process of their own action research from the very beginning, what they have done and what was the outcome and who they collaborated with and all that. So that can also be part of, part of the, I would say, success story of some students who have managed to publish the article in international journals. Okay, any other question? No question. Okay, if there is no question, I would like to I would like to go on to the collaborative action research. Okay. Okay, just bear with me a second. Okay. All right. Collaborative action research, and this is the more common action research that are conducted by teachers, by practitioners, by nurses, even doctors. Now, what is collaborative action research, or CAR? It is a process in which participants systematically examine their own educational practice using the techniques of research for the purpose of increasing learning of students, their teachers, or other interested parties. For example, the school, or maybe it is not so much about the community, but this is basically what happens in the classroom or the school. Okay, so that's why it is doable if you even do it alone, right? Okay, so Sagor says collaborative action research involves people who want to do something to improve their own situation. For example, us as a lecturer, or even your students, they want to improve. Let's say if you ask your students themselves to carry out action research, but of course they have to have the issues, the problem statement, and all that. So they would have to know the foundation of conducting research. Okay, and of course, taking action. The focus of the research process is teams of practitioners who have common interests if you are doing collaborative. So that's why it is called collaborative. You collaborate. Like I mentioned just now, since my own student teachers, they are not practitioners, they collaborate with teachers in school. Okay, working together to investigate issues relevant to their interests. Okay, assumptions behind action research. Oops. Teachers or principals or academics work best on problems they have identified for themselves, not problems that are identified by others. For example, just now, we have had information about PAR. PAR, when you collaborate with other entities, they have determined the problem. Okay, we want to improve on the community, Orang Asli community, and we want to collaborate with you. Right, so that is PAR. But in action, in collaborative action research, you yourself and your team identify what the problems are and what works best for you and your colleagues. Teachers and
principals. One question, please.
Yes, please.
What happens if you and your team collaboratively identified a problem which is the same as the one identified by the sponsor, for example?
Okay, that is okay. For example, if you want to do something to actually help out the community out there, right? But basically, collaborative action research, you do not actually get instructions from others, because you are the leader. You make decisions, right? Whether you want to help the community out there or you want to help your students in the classroom, it doesn't matter, because collaborative action research is you and your team, right? Does that answer your question, Doctor?
Yes.
Okay. Teachers and principals become more effective when encouraged to examine and assess their own work and then consider ways of working differently. Teachers and principals or academics help each other by working collaboratively and working with colleagues and whoever that is in the in the kuliah, for example. Actually, that will lead to your professional development. Not only professional development, you are going to also help your students to improve their own learning. Okay, I want to skip the definition, this action. I want to go straight to okay, why do we suggest a collaborative approach? The main reason is based on the old adage, two heads better than one. Okay, probably we know this. Multiple perspectives from different people help make sense of the complex nature of teaching and learning. Additionally, research informs us it is a good characteristic of successful professional development. So let's compare. If you are doing action research alone, and you are doing action research, collaborative action research with a friend or with a colleague. Okay, and some academics or some lecturers would really excel and when they work alone. So that is absolutely okay. So, but you don't use the word collaborative. You are using only using action research. Okay, so collaborative is when you collaborate with others or your friends. Okay, so this is the 5 phases of action research, which I would want later, maybe in half an hour. We are going to do a very quick hands-on on problem identification. Of course, when we do the normal research, we have to identify the issues or the issue. So you have to identify what is the issue that you are facing in your classroom, or what are the things that you want to improve on. Let's say Dr. Samsul just now wanted to do something with the community. So you have to identify the issue of the problems first. Okay, because if there is no issue, there is no problem, there will be no research. Okay, so phase 1, identify the problem. Number 2, now plan of action. So this plan of action will actually, it is attributed to quite a number of things. Yeah, plan of actions. Plan of action, I will take you through of the actions that you need to do. And one of the things is to, when you do collaborative action research, is to get your collaborator to agree with you, to agree on the topic, to agree on the, your objective. So phase 3 will be the data collection, whether you want to do a qualitative only, quantitative only, a mixed method, up to you, up to the research questions that you are going to, when you plan, you are going to have all the RQs. So your RQs will then determine your instrument. Okay, and then you analyze your data, and then this is the final phase, plan for future action. Because normally when we do the normal research, once we have done the analysis and we have got our findings, we are going to disseminate the findings, right? Whether we want to publish, we want to share, we want to you go out, you go off for a conference and share your findings with people from other places. But for action research, it does not stop there. For action research, phase 5 is the most important. So what's next? So the question is, what's next? Plan for future action. If you say that, oh, I think I'm done here, I've got my findings and I have answered the question. So to me, if that is the case, what you do is not actually action research. It's just a normal research that you're doing. All right. Okay, guideline typically used in teacher action research or academic, if you like. Now, decide in a systematic way how to go about answering that question. So if you have your team to collaborate, so this is the time when we convene and we, we put our heads together and do it systematically on how we can answer those questions stem from the issues that we have identified at the outset. Now decide how data will be collected and analyzed, report and share findings, implement study data collection analysis, develop time. Okay, so this one goes like this. You know, if you can see the line there, it goes like that. Yeah, it goes like that, right? And of course, when you start planning, you have to have the timeline. How long do you think that you need for this research or for this, if you are actually doing a small research, wanting to find out why students are not engaged in teaching and learning, you wouldn't want to do it like for a year, because once you have got the findings, maybe those set of students have moved away from you. So we want, but of course you can use it for future, for future use. But then, if possible, the findings that you get for that particular research can be applied to the same set of students, if possible. If not possible, that's okay. So that's why in action research, we don't do like too long, like longitudinal. No, totally no action research. What we care about is to improve teaching and learning. So that is the fundamental. Now, 5 step. Okay, these are all the same. Whether it's from, whether from car and chemist, whether from felons, they have the 5 steps. Maybe, and number 5 for this one, they have reflection. Of course, when we do action research, once we have got the findings, we have to reflect. Before moving on to our next plan, we have to reflect what are the strengths that we have, strengths and weaknesses of the process that we have gone through from the beginning until the end. So the reflection is important there for felons. Okay, step 1. So this is the one that Dr. Samsul, can I ask you a question? Are the participants going to be doing this hands-on by themselves or in a group?
I think it's up to you, Doctor. If you prefer it to be in groups, it can be done. Otherwise, it can be individual.
Because we are doing collaborative action research, so I would prefer that at least participants can be in pairs, in pairs, or 3 or 4. It doesn't matter. But if you want to do interdisciplinary, is okay. But if you want to do like for those who are teaching English or Bahasa or Arabic, they want to get together, that is fine with me. Later, we are going to do this later, yeah? So first of all, yeah?
Okay.
Okay, all right. Okay. Now, step 1, identify a problem area. Teachers often, or us as lecturers often, have several questions they wish to investigate. However, it is important to limit the question to one that is meaningful and doable in the confines of their daily work. So that's why I have emphasized earlier that action research is practitioner's research. You are the practitioner. You are the person who knows your classroom, your students, your materials, because smaller problems will get you to move on to the next one, to the to plan your next action. All right, rather than having a big topic, a big issue, and then you have to think about a lot of other things. Right? Okay. Careful planning at the first stage will limit false starts and frustrations. There are several criteria to consider before investing the time and effort in researching a problem. The question should be a high order question, not a yes or no. Okay, so high order, not yes or no. For example, are my students engaged in my classroom? So that is a yes/no question. So we want to avoid that kind of yes/no question, right? Maybe you want to say something like, to what extent does my student, to what extent do my students engage in my English language classroom, for example? So that will leave you to a wider space to, to get yourself around. Be stated in common language, avoiding jargon. But I think if you are doing this collaborative action research with your own colleague, they are used to your own jargon. So I don't think that matters. But if you are doing interdisciplinary, for example, if you are doing it with let's say technical people from the engineering or from the economics, for example, then you will have to avoid jargons. Be concise, be meaningful, not already have an answer. Okay, so why we are doing this action research? Because we want to find answers to problems. But if you have got the answers already, then there is no need for you to do action research. So first and foremost, identify the problem area. So importance of the problem statement is a puzzlement. Okay, the problem statement defines the puzzlement which guides the inquiry of the project. Problem statements often take the form of central question that yields sub-questions. So this is up to you, whether you want to have central questions and then have sub-questions, or whether you want to have straight away question 1, question 2, question 3, or if you only have 2 questions. But you and your partner and your team members must decide or must agree that, okay, we have this much time only. We have only this semester to carry out this action research. So you have put a time frame there, which is good, so that you won't go, you won't go elsewhere and come back to the main task that you're supposed to do, right? So you can have central questions, sub-questions. You can have straight away question 1, question 2, question 3. Okay. Problem formulation. Action research involves puzzling the identification of problem where there is some doubt about how to proceed. It requires the ability to constantly ask questions in addition to the determination of patterns through the formal tools of systematic audit. Okay, so in a simpler way, when you formulate the problem, make sure the problem is clear, okay, and it's not a double barrel question problem. Like we want to ask our students to formulate research question, no double barrel research question. So it's the same with problem statement. So we have to be very clear about the main problem or the main issue that we want to tackle. How do I choose a research question to study? Okay, you have to focus on your practice, focus on your student, the impact within your control. Something, of course, I think this is the most fundamental, something that you are passionate about, not what others over somewhere is doing. So something that, because action research normally is a small scale, it can be a big scale, but we want to start small. So when we start small, it's something that we really we are passionate about. And something you'd like to change, something you think maybe you want to improve on your own strategy, on your own approaches to teaching online, for example. Something that you want to change. Align with your professional growth, of course. Something that you're passionate, of course, you want the outcome to improve your professional growth. Okay. Step 2, gather data. Okay, before you even get to step 2, we at this point you have already identified your problem, the issues, problem statement, and why you are doing it, the significance of doing this action, collaborative action research. Then only you come out with your ROs and RQs. Then with your ROs and RQs, you determine your instrument, whether it's interviews, diaries, audio tapes, memos, focus group, and so on and so forth. This one, I'm sure that everybody knows this. Okay. Select the data that are most appropriate for the issues being researched. Are the data easy to collect? Are their sources readily available? How structured and systematic with the collection be? Use at least 3 sources of data for basic of action. So these are the normal research that we want to. Okay, before we go on to the interpretation of data, let me see if I've got okay, because I want to start off with okay. Oh, where's the action plan guide? Okay. Okay, before we go on to hands-on, right? Okay, let's go. Let's look at the guide. Step 1, your goal, your goals. In figuring just how you will implement your practice, it is important to be clear about what your goals are. Your goals are divided into 2 sections. Teaching goals, if it is a teaching goal, it describes how you expect teaching at your own setting improve as a result of implementing this action research. Learning goals describe how you expect learning at your classroom or your school to improve as a result of implementing the practice. Okay, so that is, I think we are at step 1 first. All right, step 1. Okay, here we go. All right, so it's time. It's 10 o'clock. Yes, it's almost 10:15. Now, this is what because we want to share later on. May I have recorded video or slide? Okay, I will share. Don't worry, I will share everything with you. I'll give it to Dr. Samsul later on, or Dr. Sapatri. Yang, yes, I will share. Don't worry. But for now, let's start our action research. We know the action research is, we want to start a small action research in class, for example. So maybe you can be with another person, a partner, because we want it to be collaborative instead of the singular action research. Yeah. So you and your partner, because we do not have breakout session for this one.
Yes, so unfortunately, we don't have that function.
Never mind. We are going to stay here anyway, but then you and your partner can discuss. But if you are determined, you are totally determined that I want to do this alone. Okay, boleh lah. If you want to really do it alone, that is okay. Now, when I say this is hands-on, people are starting to leave. But it's okay. It's okay. It's totally fine. So those who want to start, maybe you want to start an action research, maybe now you and your partner can discuss an area of interest first. What is your area of interest? Then once you have discussed and agreed on an area of research or an area of something that you like, then you can go on to, okay, what is the problem that we normally face in this area? For example, I'll give you an example of, let's say, English language teaching. And the area is students are always weak in listening. Yeah, listening skills. So maybe you want to find issues in the listening skill. Okay, and then come out with, okay, so these are the things that I want you to come up with your partner. One is the area of interest. Number 2, what are the issues Number three, why is it important? The significant. Why is it important that you have picked this topic, and how do you think, if you are going to conduct action research, what would be your expectation in improving your teaching and learning? So just that. Boleh? Probably we can give you 15 minutes. Is that okay, Dr. Shamsul? 15 minutes, will that be enough?
Yes, Doctor, what do you propose? Do we conduct it in a separate Google Meet, or do we?
Oh, so that is something that we can think of.
Or maybe we could get them to contact.
Yeah, I think that is the best. You contact your partner, but if you want to do it alone, you can do it alone. You contact with your partner and start discussing about the 4 items that I have asked you to do just now.
Okay, that is the area of interest.
Yeah, area of interest, the problems,
the significance,
and
the expectation.
Yes, expectation. Right. That's all.
Okay,
15 minutes. So now is 10:18. We come back at 10:33.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So to all participants, if you have a friend you recognize in this session, please contact your partner. And,
but if you want to do it alone, it's okay.
Yes, that's true. Okay, so we'll meet again at 10:35. Yeah, Doctor. Yeah. Okay.
Assalamualaikum. Can I ask a question?
Waalaikumsalam. Ya, Dr. Lily.
Hai, Doktor. Apa khabar?
Khabar baik, Alhamdulillah.
Nak tanya, can you elaborate a little bit on expectations? Like, what do you...
Okay. For example, you want to do something on, your area of interest. You want to do this because there is a problem, right? So what do you expect when you, let's say we are looking ahead, what do you expect when you are going to run this action research? What do you expect to achieve?
Okay, alright. So this is macam your desire lah, kan?
Yeah, like, betul.
Okay.
Doctor, I have one more question.
Yes.
Relating to area of interest. Let's say we have the tourism department, right? But within tourism department, you have marketing, you have human resource, you have tour planning and all that. So is that, if we collaborate with, let's say, marketing and human resource, does that fall under the same area of interest? Because it's all under tourism.
Yeah, it's all under tourism, but but I think that is okay. That's fair, because the expertise of different people are different things, right? So maybe with your collaboration, you will have a more comprehensive understanding of the issue that you want to tackle.
I see.
So that is okay.
It is permissible. Boleh.
Of course, like for example, let's say Dr. Lily wants to do with siapa lagi English department, with siapa lah in English department. Both of them are from the English department, kan? But they are going to discuss about an issue. Okay, and both of them agree that is the issue that they are facing. So then they will discuss.
All right.
Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Right.
Thank you.
Assalamualaikum.
You're welcome. Welcome salam.
Hi, I'm a PG student. I'm not sure whether or not I fit in this seminar or not.
That's okay.
Yeah. Is action research suitable to be implemented in your individual research?
Is action research, say again, sister?
Is action research suitable to be implemented in individual researchers?
You mean it can it be done alone?
Yeah, and on referring to my thesis.
Oh, okay, right, all right, okay. So this is also something that I have just experienced. I think about 2 weeks ago when there was this PhD student. PhD student. She did something on I think repeated reading or something, and that student has used action research at the end of her thesis, something repeated reading, la la la, and action research. All right. And what the person or the student provided or showed us or showed me is totally not action research because it does not fulfill the fundamentals of action research, whereby action research is practitioners research. It has to be cyclical. You have to show the cycle of action research, and of course it was a classroom research, classroom teaching and learning, but it was not an action research. But if you want to do an action research, sister, you can do, but it has to fulfill the fundamentals of action research, the cycle. Okay, so you have to show the process 1, 2, 3. But of course, when I mentioned just now, if you do the normal research, you start with the issue, statement, problem, ROs, RQ, design, instrument, data collection, data analysis, and findings, and you stop there. And you call that action research. So that would not be appropriate because unless you have showed the cyclical process. Okay? And to be honest, students who have time constraint, normally PhD students or master students, they have constraint of time. So to actually have 2 cycles will take a long time, right? So unless you totally want, and you are also a practitioner, you want to improve your teaching and learning, and at the same time you want to complete your master's degree or PhD, that is okay, as long as you have shown the evidence of the cycle of action research. Okay, sister?
Okay. All right. Thank you, doctor, for the feedback.
Thank you.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
I'm Farida from
Waalaikumsalam.
Malay. Okay. Actually, I've done exhibition research for my KTP Wish grant last year.
Okay.
Because I have an innovation to improve pronunciation among second language learners. And I used the innovation, but what I actually collaborate with my colleague from the Department of English.
Okay.
And what we did is we did the pre-test to determine the problems, and then I used the innovation, and then after a while, I think after 6 months, I collected the data for the post-test.
Okay.
And I think that maybe that is one of the examples of collaborative action research.
Okay, once you have got your data after the post test and you have got your findings, did you then plan for the next one, for the next cycle?
No, only one cycle. I did only one cycle.
So if it's only one, then we cannot call that an action research.
Is that an action research?
No, that is not an action research.
No.
So that's why action research, we want to do something small in the classroom so that it will not take a long time. And at phase 5 or stage 5, once we have got the answers to our RQ, we are going to start back based on the findings. We are going to plan what are the improvement that we can do, and we will start the cycle again.
Oh,
Right?
okay. Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
Because
That
I
is
only
actions.
did one cycle and then
Ah.
I wrote the
So
report.
if it's one cycle, it's the normal research that we do, right? The normal research that we do when we got FRGS grant, PRGS grant, whatever grant. That is only one cycle.
Okay, thanks. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Doctor, relating to what Dr. Farida asked just now, when we're talking about cycle, I'm just wondering about the duration. I mean, if there's a continuity there, so how long should it be continued? Is it like, you start off with small, let's say 1 week, and then maybe you proceed to 2 months? Do you continue to go for, let's say, years?
Okay, normally action research will not take years unless it's participatory action research. Collaborative action research normally is a short-term research, but it's a short-term, let's say 6 months, but in the 6 months, you have gone like 2 or 3 cycles.
I see.
Okay,
Right.
but you don't have, for example, don't get me wrong, you don't have to restart of identify the second cycle. You don't have to restart with identifying a research problem. No, from the findings of your first cycle, okay, from the findings of your first cycle, then you plan for the next, let's say, okay, so we have got some ideas why students are weak in their speaking skill. So now we want to look at different angle, but we are still looking at speaking skills. Why they are not speaking? We are looking at maybe parents' angle, different angles, but still trying to improve the students' speaking skills. You know what I mean?
So is the same but different sub-dimensions.
It can be different sub-dimension. Sometimes what others have done, they have finished the first cycle and got the findings. And from the findings, they are not satisfied, saying that probably this is, some of it is true and some of it you think, although that is already the findings, you are not satisfied, you will do another cycle. So you don't have to identify the problem statement because you are going to do the ROs and RQs, the same ROs and RQs. But then when you come to maybe the instruments, you want to change the instruments because you want to look at different angle, and you want to, instead of doing interviews, you are going to do observation, for example. So that is the second cycle. And when you have got the findings of the second cycle, compare to the findings of the first cycle. And is there a need for the third cycle? Normally, when they do second cycle, normally they are already, the data is already saturated. They know what they want already. But then there are also cases where they are still not satisfied. They will go on to the third cycle.
So if you go on for the third cycle, Dr. Faiza, you are doing a little bit of snowballing, ya? Dia
Yes,
macam,
correct, betul.
okay.
Because you want to know, in the process, have you picked, have you left out anything? You want to pick them up, something like that. Okay, so another 4 minutes.
So, Doctor, I'm Zahid.
Yes.
So the research question remain the same, even though we go for the second cycle.
Yeah. Unless you want to change it slightly. Because of the first cycle, due to the findings of your first cycle, you want to slightly change the RQ is okay, but not totally change the whole research lah kan? That would be another research altogether. But with your findings of the first cycle, you want to look at it you want to look at it differently, so you slightly change the RQ. That will be okay. Okay, Dr. Zahid?
Okay, yes, I got it.
And I also have heard a lot of teachers have done kajian tindakan. That is action research. But I see that the kajian tindakan is just one-off research. It does not fulfill the criteria of an action research lah kan, kebanyakannya. So I don't know why.
Prof, just want to ask, did you manage to publish your work on action research?
Actually, Doctor,
Yes.
I am in the midst of writing a book on action research based on what I have found, my experience with the students and also my experience with the community. So I am writing a collaborative action research, a guide for, I think it's a guide for student teachers.
Wow,
Because
interesting.
student teachers, they are not practitioners kan, but most institution there is a subject on action research.
Yes, yes. That'll be interesting to read lah, Prof.
InsyaAllah, tunggulah. Betul. Right. I'm sure everybody knows writing a book will take time kan. And then
Yeah.
with the with our semester is coming in October, itulah dia. I think for now we just want to forget about participatory action research. Concentrate on either action research that you do it yourself or collaborative action research. Yes, Rehan.
Yes,
Rehan?
Assalamualaikum. Yes.
Open.
Okay.
Waalaikumsalam.
I wanted to ask. I was involved once in a research to develop some products, and we went to one company, it failed. Then we went to another company, it failed. Then
What
another
failed? The
company,
project or the start of the project?
the product was not able to be made. It was
Oh.
antibacterial, silver ion antibacterial yarn fiber.
Mm-hmm.
So the project was the same, but we tried different companies and different countries to get the product successfully made as a sample.
Mm-hmm.
So so would that be considered action research?
I would not consider that an action research. Why? Because
Because the
normally.
sorry, the circle was the same, because we went to one and went to another and another. It was
Okay.
from the previous experience we added that to the next experience.
Okay. So what is the purpose? Okay, we know action research is to improve practices. To improve,
Yes.
whether you are in what area, it doesn't matter. It has to
Yes.
be something that you improve, practices, but not to produce product. But if you have, you are producing a product and you want to try whether it is successful, whether it's workable. Probably that is not action research. Although you have got the cycle. You have got the cycle because you want to improve the product, right? You want to improve the product.
Yes.
But in action research, we want to improve our practice more than concentrating on product. Yeah, Doctor?
Okay. So what will we call this type of research?
So that is the normal research that we do when we get grants. For example, you are producing product, the prototype. What you are doing, you are prototyping your product. and then you show it to organization whether they will accept this prototype, and once they agree, then that product becomes a real product. So that is a prototype kind of grant that we apply, right?
Okay.
So,
Okay.
I would like to suggest for Brother Rehan, you can look at design science research. Prof. Faiza,
yes.
for this action research, if, for example, we want to improve our project instruction, and then see when we improve the project instruction, what's the outcome, and then for the next instruction, when we add more, what's the outcome? It can be an action research.
Okay. Project instruction is to improve your practice, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
To see
Once
what
it
they learn.
improve practice, improve teaching, improve learning, improve the condition of the school, improve the condition of your, let's say, for example, the kuliah, then that action research can be done, as long as it can actually improve something to do with teaching and learning and education. Okay. Or not only education, like I said, for nurses and doctors, they want to improve their practice. How can they become a better nurse? How can they become a more responsive nurse, for example? So they do action research.
Oh, thank you very much, Prof.
You're welcome. It's 10:40, Dr. Samsul.
Yes.
So can we come back, everyone?
Yes, I think we can proceed.
Okay, we proceed. All right. So we have done that little thing, or the little task that I have asked you to do just now. Now is the time for you to present. I'm going to listen. Ramai dah leave dah ha. Satu-satu orang leave ya. Kau takut kena present ke? Yes, Aida wants to ask something. Aida Nur Sharini. Okay, so instead of writing in the chat box, can I ask Dr. Lily, can you share? You don't have to have a PowerPoint, just present orally to us what you have in mind. Dr. Lily, are you there?
Oh, yes. Okay. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Right. This is the rough idea that we have after listening to you.
You are doing collaborative action research, yeah?
Yes. So let's say we find that our students who have gone for internship
Okay.
are not able to write. Like today, we know that content writing is a skill needed in many organizations.
Okay.
So when we get reports, for example, that students are not really able to write well, when asked to do content writing, they do like academic writing instead. The tone is not academic.
I understand.
So organizations given us this feedback, and hence, in order to improve in our maybe courses and also instructional method, for example, we conduct an action research on how to improve students' writing tone, so that when they go for internship, they can produce better writing as I stated. Does that make sense?
Yes. Absolutely okay, because that is actually to improve the students' well-being when they are going for not only well-being, their performance when they go out there for their internship, and as well as you want to know what is probably lacking in the existing course. Do you have the course in like report writing for something?
Yeah, at the moment, for example, we do have business communication. And
In business communication, you have a specific skill on report writing?
we have, I'm not so sure about the content because I don't teach business communication.
Right.
We do have business communication and workplace English.
Okay.
And students, to us or to our perception lah, we have given or prepared enough basic skills, right? And report writing, I think is common in the program as well.
Okay.
So students know how to write reports, but when they go to organizations, the feedback is that they can write well. There's no problem about writing, but the tone is so academic. It is about the tone.
Yeah, I understand.
Jadi this is something yang we have to find ways to improve in our practice lah kot.
Okay. So so you have the very genuine issue. You have a genuine issue there. I can hear my voice somewhere. Ida, can you turn off your? Okay. All right. So you have a genuine issue there, right? And then before you actually can write down your research question later, so you are going to look at first what were the comments from the organization. So because you need to have all this evidence before you start writing your RQs. So what were the comments from the organizations? Have you kind of get some general feedback from the students themselves? Number 3, you are going to look at your current courses in relation to workplace English. Is there any kind of report writing? So what in the report writing, what are the components? Is there any kind of different genre in writing? Right. For example, if I'm writing for let's say the organization newsletter, if I am writing for the organization's event, so it's different genre. So do I have this in my workplace English? So those are some of the things that you need to have before writing your ROs and RQs. And then with that information, then you will be able to start, okay, now I kind of know what is lacking, right? But if you still don't know what is lacking, you can still go on as long as you have got all this evidence in supporting your problem statement later on. Your problem statement must you have to show evidence, right? You said that students are this. So the evidence is from the organization. The evidence is from maybe the course outline or course content. And the next one is the approach or the strategy that each of the lecturers have used in order to execute this kind of report writing. So we want to know what is happening there, and then only you will be able to write a comprehensive ROs and RQs to actually answer that question that you have. Boleh?
Okay, understood.
Okay,
Thank
good.
you. All
Very
right,
good.
thank you.
Okay, anyone else?
Assalamualaikum. Can you hear me?
Waalaikumsalam.
Tadi saya nak present tapi rasanya mic not working.
Okay, so boleh present sekarang.
Okay, Prof. I don't really know whether this is a action research or not. My area of interest is chemical risk assessment.
Okay.
Chemical risk assessment of the East Coast region of Peninsular Malaysia. The current problem
in what field?
This is in what field? Medicine.
Oh, medicine. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So the current problem is that there is no published list of substances that may cause problems to the public lah.
Is that data is restricted or what?
That is the problem because some companies have what you call it trade secrets, so they don't want to share.
Yeah.
But however, in terms of hospital readiness, disaster preparedness, if there is an accessible list, it is very useful during mitigation purposes. That means we know what kind of exposure or what kind of substances we are exposed to,
right?
And then therefore we can actually negate inappropriate management. That means if we know the substance, we know what to do.
So this is to improve practice,
management. Yes, practice.
Okay. Because then, you need to know what are the substances that that you are exposed to, right?
Right.
But then you won't be able to know because of this trade punya politics.
Right. So my project that I want to go into is to develop a book or publish a book that has the list of this that is accessible to healthcare workers lah, especially to first responders. Now, first responders are not just first responders are not just hospitals. It includes your bomber, your police. Yeah. So the expectation that I will be able to produce this lah. So is that some kind of an action research?
Okay.
Cuma masalah trade secret tu je lah.
So this is tricky ni. Because of course this organization or apa ni, they won't release. Kalau release pun probably about 20%, 30% only. But with 20% and 30%, you still can actually run your action research because this is probably preliminary.
Right.
In your action research punya in your findings, you can also suggest, because there is reflection and suggestion. You may suggest that there should be more or
transparency.
Transparency on the part of this organization.
Okay.
So bila tak ada transparency, so that is another cycle that you can do on transparency.
Cool.
So yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Prof.
Okay, do we have the next presenter? Rafida dah left dah here, Rafida. Okay, anybody else? Dr. Madiha senyap je. Dr. Madiha ada kat situ tak?
Ada. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Saya nak cuba tapi saya tak tahu.
Sila. Kita dah sekarang dah relax sikit kan, Dr. Madiha?
Tapi saya jadi HOD balik semula.
Oh ya ke? Allah.
Okay, saya cubalah tapi saya tak tahu. Okay, area of interest, teaching method. Okay, issue dia teachers not using flipped classes in teaching Arabic in school. Lepas tu, why important to adopt with the current situation. Expectation ataupun desired outcome, kita nak teachers can teach using teaching Arabic language in the school using the flipped class method. Boleh ke?
Okay. Alright. First and foremost, we have to understand what is the meaning of flipped classroom.
Okay.
And the strategy of flip. Flip ni actually content, the content tu kita memang dah record. Okay? Kita record content. And during the class time tu students execute task, betul tak?
Betul.
Kan? But then during the pandemic, classes are done online and kadang-kadang hybrid. Okay? So now, when you are talking about flipped classroom, are you genuinely talking about the genuine flipped classroom ke? Why the teachers are not using flipped classroom? So first kali, I think you Dr. Madiha kena tahu the understanding of flipped classroom among teachers ni yang teach Arabic. First kali kena tahu. Sama ada dia faham tak the fundamentals of flipped classroom. Okay, bila katakanlah itu cycle pertama, nak tahu whether they know apa challenges dia, apa masalahnya, then your second cycle will be the execution of the flipped classroom itself. Sebabnya kita nak improve the practices of these teachers. Betul tak, doktor?
Betul.
So some people, bukan cikgu saja, even orang-orang lain pun, dia ingat flip classroom tu, bila student dah ada dalam online, record apa yang kita record, dah. And then the video is played. The video is played, maknanya cikgu tu tengok aja apa student buat when the video is played. So that is the wrong conception of flip classroom. Sepatutnya flip classroom ni, dia dah dengar video ni dekat rumah and come back and do the task masa cikgu ada dalam kelas. So kita nak tahu sama ada the teachers do understand the betul-betul flip classroom ni macam mana. Okay, yang tu pertama. Once dah dapat, katalah dapat finding, kita dapat tahu 30% or only 30% teachers understood what flipped classroom is. So kita punya next cycle tu, kita punya problem statement is still the same probably. Maybe you want to change your research question a bit. You have the perception. Now, the execution of flipped classroom in Arabic class in Arabic lessons. Doktor dah ada dua dah tu. Dah dua cycle dah tu.
Yang second cycle tu apa tadi?
Yang second cycle tu ialah the execution, macam mana dia orang buat.
Okay.
Dia punya practice, macam mana cikgu-cikgu punya practice of flipped classroom tadi.
So tadi the first cycle bila kita tahu
dia punya understanding, apa challenges dia, apa masalah dia yang dia rasa flip classroom ni susah ke and what not lah. Yang tu first. Macam kita buat needs analysis jugalah, but then we do it through action research.
So in this case, Dr. Faiza, if sorry to interrupt. Okay. So in this case, in Dr. Madiha's case, can the action research be conducted on the teaching team instead of the class?
Yeah, yes. So maknanya the teachers themselves first.
Oh, okay. So the research on the teachers' understanding of a flipped classroom can be the action research itself.
Yes, of course.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Faiza, satu lagi, kalau kita nak masukkan perception of students, maknanya dengan teacher mengendalikan flip class tu, apa pendapat mereka, pandangan mereka tu? Dia masuk tak dalam tu?
Yang pertama, the second cycle tu, yang first cycle tu. Kita tengok perception, you understand the perceptions of the teachers and also the students. Jadi your research questions, one from teachers, one from students.
Okay. Okay.
Alright.
Boleh jadilah.
Boleh sangat.
Lepas tu dia punya expectation tu kita nak teachers can use flip class dengan betul lah.
Flip classroom dengan betul.
Okay.
Bukan setengah-setengah macam tu.
Betul.
And then, doktor, kalau if you do this, you can actually already publish this one. Sebab I know a lot of teachers dia tak faham flip classroom. Dia punya fundamentals dia salah.
Itulah tujuan dia.
Ya, betul.
Dan this one boleh jugalah kalau jadikan thesis FYP ke master.
Boleh, sangat boleh. FYP is very good.
Okay. Terima kasih banyak-banyak.
Alright. Okay, Waalaikumsalam. Siapa lagi?
Assalamualaikum, Dr. Faiza.
Waalaikumsalam. Siapa bercakap? Dr. Nurul.
Dr. Nurul Jamilah. Ya. Okay, sorry Dr. Faiza, macam nak bentang sikit boleh?
Ya.
Okay doktor, actually sekarang ni tengah saya punya kajian lah, berdasarkan grant lah yang saya dapat ni.
Okay.
Saya tengah buat kajian tentang masalah literasi lah bahasa Melayu dalam kalangan murid orang asli. Okay, ini gambaran draft saya lah. Okay, dan apa yang akan dilakukan, yang akan dilaksanakan. Okay, yang untuk menampakkan ia adalah satu kajian action research ataupun kajian tindakan. Okay, ni isunya lah. Okay, ni yang apa yang dimaksudkan lah. Macam saya cadangkan macam apa yang doktor maksudkan tadi, pelaksanaan untuk peringkat contoh saya gambarkan saya akan laksanakan model 1, model 2 dan saya uji kepada pelajar.
Boleh besarkan sikit-sikit.
Bila saya uji kepada pelajar dan tengok hasil dapatan tu, adakah ia satu pencapaian atau kejayaan kan. Okey, kalau tak okey, kita akan dapat satu isu, kita akan bawa pada peringkat kedua dan seterusnya lah. Ini yang cuma nak tanya pandangan doktor, ia bertepatan dengan action research doktor?
Okey, sekarang ni yang ini ialah dia punya perancangan tu ialah untuk nombor 1 ialah untuk model, dia ada model 1 and model 2. So model 1 and model 2 ni you buat sekali arung ataupun satu-satu?
Katalah saya nak buat sekali arung.
Kalau buat sekali arung maknanya actually kalau action research macam saya cakap tadi, you have to have the cycle kan? Kalau misalnya you buat model 1 untuk satu cycle and dapatkan findings dia. Daripada findings tu, you akan from the findings itself, you are going to use masalah tadi sama, problem statement sama, but then you akan tengok mengenai ejaan pula in the second one kan. So biarkan yang second one to be the second cycle. Tapi second cycle ni mestilah adalah it has to come from the findings of the first cycle. Maknanya first cycle punya findings support that you have to do ejaan in the second cycle. Then we can consider this as a action research. Dan this study ni is a long study or short ke macam mana?
Long study.
Long, berapa lama?
Dalam 2 tahun.
2 tahun, okay. Macam ni, boleh, tak ada masalah kalau gunakan action research as the main approach. Maknanya kajian tindakan untuk something-something. Tapi doktor kan? Doktor, you have to actually terangkan dekat mana yang action research, kat mana kajian tindakan tu, mana dia fasa-fasa dia. Fasa 1, 2, 3, macam mana cycle tu dibuat. Itu kena explain dalam research methodology. Dalam research methodology, you have to explain why is this action research, why is this not the normal research. And why have you selected action research than other research. Yang tu kena clear. So that siapa-siapa yang baca nanti faham yang ini adalah kajian tindakan.
Oh right. Okay, jadi saya boleh pecahkan pada model 1 sebagai cycle 1 and then model 2 pada cycle 2. Right? So based on the cycle 1, cycle 2, so macam saya boleh akan dapat apakah isu untuk cycle 3 pula ataupun saya akan ada model daripada isu tu kita akan dapat satu isu untuk model seterusnya lah.
Yes, correct. Daripada dua-dua cycle 1 dan cycle 2 tu, kalau ada lagi yang boleh diperbaiki ataupun lagi yang boleh you can macam nak suggest daripada suggestion tu buat model cycle 3.
Okay, alright.
Okay,
I'm clear. Thank you so much Dr. Faizal.
Okay, no problem. Okay, orang lain. Kita masih ada masa ni. Saya hanya pergi ke problem statement dan kita tak pergi pun RORQs. I think yang tu semua orang dah tahu buat kan, because we want to start off the action research ni dan we want to know whether this is an action research project or not. Itu saja sekarang ni. But then again, kita nak kena tengok, we have to see whether the topic that you are going to be doing is can be done through action research ke tak. Yang tu kena tahu jugalah. Ya? Jadi ada tak orang lain?
Doctor, can I ask one question?
Yes, you can.
Relating to the methods of using questionnaire or qualitative or quantitative, to what extent do we use? My background is more of quantitative.
Okay.
So when
So
you use quantitative, you use items, you use variables.
Okay.
To
answer your question, this is exactly the same with other research when it comes to instruments, when it comes to methodology, because it has to be rigorous. But then if you are doing a small scale classroom research, of course you do not want to spend so much time on rigor. Walaupun rigor penting lah dalam research, is very important. But then you want, because actual research needs, because it has a few cycles. So you need to have the findings of the first cycle. So if you concentrate on rigor, just rigor for the first cycle, it will take you more time. So what I mean is, from your RQs will determine your method. Let's say you want to find out what is la la la. Then you will say that what normally qualitative will not answer the question what, kan? Qualitative how, to what extent boleh lah, to what extent does this. But then again, we want to know that we do not want the method to drive our research. It is the other way around. We want our research questions, okay, to determine the instrument that we use. Jangan a lot of students, ramai students, oh, I know SEM, I know this TLS, I want to use that. But what is your research question? Okay, so kita kena tahu research question kita lah yang will determine what instrument yang kita akan guna. So if you think you are going to only use qualitative, okay, fine, senang and basic. You want to interview teachers, you want to interview students, you want to observe what is going on, and you want to write some field notes. What field note? Dah habis satu cycle. And then if you want to extend it, because when we do quantitative, it has to fulfill the percentage, kan? You have to have the sample size, kan? You tak boleh buat satu kelas about 20 people, 20 students, and you start asking them to write answer question. Boleh lah for your own consumption, boleh. But then if you think that you want to publish that, that won't be publishable. But then for your own consumption, all this question is answered by the students, and you are going to use them later on, boleh, tak apa. Right? So it's all up to you how long you want this research to be, and we do not want to spend too much time on cycle 1. Probably cycle 1 for collaborative research, the most will be 3 months. The most 3 months. If you can do a slightly lower than that pun lagi bagus. Then you go on to cycle 2. So that's why for me, those who are doing PhD, if you really want to do action research, it has to have rigor. For PhD was adopting, because I've got a few during my time dulu, quite a number of my PhD friends, they actually did action research, but with rigor. I didn't like that. I hope my explanation is clear, Dr. Samsul.
InsyaAllah it is.
Okay, Alhamdulillah. Okay, ada tak yang lain nak try and share?
Can I try?
Yes, please, Dr. Wan.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Dr. Fatin from Kuliah of Medicine. Okay, so my area of interest is the curriculum in phase 1 of MBBS. Okay, the problem is that the students are having the heavy curriculum from the MBBS itself, but at the same time, they are also dealing with the Unicore.
Okay. Everybody is having problem with Unicore, kan?
Alamak. Especially because the kuliah recommend them to finish all the Unicore, the 22 credit hours in the phase 1, meaning the preclinical. Yes.
Okay.
So, that's the
that is the first year lah kan? First year
and second year.
First year and second year, okay.
the problem is that the students are finding that their schedule is overwhelmed because on top of the heavy MBBS, they also have the Unicode that needs to be completed within the 2 years. Okay, the significance is that they are kind of their well-being is kind of I would say compromised.
Mental health.
Complain lah, I would say. Okay. My expectation is how can us, the MBBS lecturers, facilitate our phase 1 students to sail through the phase 1 MBBS years lah, the year 1 and year 2. So actually, we have actually conducted a survey lah.
That's good.
The students to kind of look at how the Unicode affects them and what do they think of the importance of Unicode and the MBBS syllabus, kind of what are their perception. So tapi
this questionnaire was given to what year students?
We given to the year 2 students, but currently they are actually moving on to year 3 lah in October. So
I think it's best that you give the questionnaire, the survey, to 3rd year and 4th year.
Okay.
Because they have gone through, they have got the experience, rather than giving the questionnaire to 1st year and 2nd year, in which they are actually experiencing at that time. Okay, and we know that different students, their resistance, their resilience is different. And so if you can give the questionnaire to the 3rd year or 4th year, or even if you can get your alumni to fill in that questionnaire, I think it will really, really help the 1st years and 2nd years. Itu yang first. Okay, lagi, Doktor?
Is this an action research, Prof?
Okay, first memang you want to improve teaching and learning. You want to improve practice because lecturers wanting to help them, that which is good. To nak improve practice. Number 2, you want to actually look at the curriculum, which will improve the not only the current student but also the future students. Okay. Number 3 is you want to look at the well-being of your students, mentally, physically, and all that. Okay, so that has already fulfilled all the first criteria. Okay, first criteria of topic and area of interest, bagus. And then now we know that this is like a universal truth lah kan. Unicode is semua from all kuliah complain about Unicode. And masing-masing kata our students at this kuliah ada ni, and then we have all this clinical, and then we have students go on for their internship, first internship, second practicum, for us practicum and all that. But then we have to also look at the advantages of Unicode, not only those. What are the why we want to look at the advantages? Because this actually will help us later on to explain why we should have Unicode, but not let's say 22 hours. Not maybe we have a certain Unicode, like half of that. This is good, a good suggestion for the university. Actually, you want to improve practice so that not only medicine will can benefit from this paper, but the whole entire university students will also, tapi if I say this nanti marah pula university, because you know, you have UNGAS 1, 2, 3, you have this, you have okay, I don't want to touch on that. But then if you want to start your action research, okay, now what would be your first cycle research question? Let's say memang your intention is to improve students' well-being, all right? And to help them go through all the 22 hours. Katakanlah we have no way of reducing the 22 hours. Everyone has to do it, okay? There's no two-way about it. So now it's as a lecturer, it's our duty to help them get by. All right. So now your first action research is to the first cycle will be wanting to know the challenges, from not only from the students but also from the teachers, from the lecturers. Lecturers too will have challenges in trying to help students. Of course, the intention is very novel, bagus, and well. Of course, it's well intent. Okay, but then there will also be a kind of constraint from the lecturers. So data ni yang kita kena ambil. If you have got the data from the students now from the first year and second year, why don't you get more data from the those who have gone through the system? Lepas tu kita compare data tu. When you compare this data, this is actually your first cycle. The comparison of data from the existing one to those who have graduated the third year, fourth year, that can be the first cycle. Why? In your problem statement nanti you boleh you can actually write why you are doing the first cycle ni because of this, of the evidence from students who have gone through the system. Kan? First and then second cycle baru you look at different items. Maybe the second cycle because you want to help them get by. You want to know their mental health. You want to know, how they cope with the 22 hours first year and second year on top of what they are actually doing or taking during the semester. And we want to know how much free time do they have. Of course, they are at home. Are they? They are at home right now, so they are at home. So not much. I don't know. Probably problems. But then if they come back to campus to do their, let's say, clinical whatever, then we want to know their are they ready? Their readiness because of the tekanan that they have had for the first 2 years. Sometimes students feel that this pressure is unbearable. So bila sampai third year and fourth year, the motivation somehow has gone down a bit. So we want to know this. So I don't know what you are going to be doing, but you are going to improve all this. You are going to improve students' well-being, improve lecturers' ease of teaching. We want to improve the curriculum if possible. You want to suggest this to the university. That is the most important. So this can be done through action research. Collaborative action research. So kalau lebih baik, you collaborate with curriculum developer who actually came up with the curriculum, with the course outline, curriculum developer. Ataupun you can collaborate with student activity or kita punya stat ke or Dr. Zul's office ke, So we have a collaborative action research. Why? Because we want to improve students punya well-being. And I'm sure when we do something on students' well-being, the university will not say no. Okay, Doctor?
Thank you, Prof. Thank you so much.
No problem. Okay. Anyone else? Ada tak lagi? Okay, katakanlah if let's say you want you don't want to do collaborative action research, but you want to do your own action research in your own classroom. Okay, so you can start off by asking yourself, what are my problems last semester that I have had with my classroom, with my students? Ataupun you can say not only my problem, what were the complaints of the students last semester about the teaching and learning. So this is the first step into doing your own action research. So it doesn't have to be a big research. You start small, yeah? Start small. Okay. Yang lain tu Dr. Samsul, Yang lain tu probably I won't share. Probably they can do on their own lah kan. The research question methods, the analysis. Cumanya yang bahagian findings reflection tu nanti because we don't have it right now. So maybe kalau ada 1 or 2 groups yang dah buat action research, maybe we can share later. Yeah, Doctor. Once you have got people, starting or the action research, and maybe a few months after this, we can come together again and share, and what we can look at the findings and reflection, and how we can do the second cycle.
That would be a great idea, bro.
Yeah, I think there should be ongoing discussion.
Yes.
It cannot just stop here because we are all passionate about doing research, and we are all passionate about improving our practice. So ini adalah KLM is very good. Selalu, you want to you took care of the well-being of your staff, lecturers, and all that. And I applaud you for having this kind of discussion. Baguslah KLM. Kita orang kat sini pun tak ada lagi.
Terima kasih.
Okay, kalau tak ada tak lagi last call tapi walaupun baru 11 lebih, but I thought ada ramai yang nak share, so that's why I buat half a day. But if there is no other sharing, Dr. Samsul macam mana? Kita end ke macam mana?
I think yes, we can continue this on a second round. Good.
Yeah.
Prof, can they sort of like approach you if they
No
want
problem. I am
approach?
Yeah, I am here. Okay, macam ni. Right. I am in the midst of writing my action research, and also it's kind of I don't want to call it lesson study. I want to have the actual action research done as models in my book. So kalau ada, if any of you are doing action research and are willing to share, so we can actually macam co-write lah. Co-write this action research because you are actually doing. I don't want to use your findings, but I want to have a share of the because I am only starting, baru ada I have the outline baru because nak kena habiskan 2 buku lagi, Doktor, 2 buku lagi ni nak kena put it out of the way, then I can concentrate on my action research. So I am inviting whoever is willing to co-write an action research model with me lah, based on your own research, action research yang you buat and your experience.
It's like a chapter in
Yes,
your book.
Yeah. Although it's not going to be an edited book, but I am inviting as a co-writer, a co-author.
That's an opportunity not to be missed.
Kalau nak lah kan? Kalau nak lah.
Boleh saya masuk.
Yes.
Good one.
Dr. Lily, Dr. Jamila sekali.
Yes, sekali.
Benda kita nak tengok planning untuk second cycle tak? Cycle.
Lily nak kata apa, Lily?
Nanti tak ada. Tadi baru je nak text. Nak bagi tahu I'm interested to share.
Okay, good. Ini yang nak dengar ni. It's good that we have this sharing,
Prof, when is the next meeting? We should meet again. Saya rasa 3 months down the road.
Not 3 months lah, lama sangat lah. I think because once you have started your action research, there will be questions. Ada banyak. Of course, you can ask me, but then it is good that we share our challenges. Sometimes the aha moments that we got from our action research that we want to share with others. And jangan 3 bulan lah, make it 2 months lah. Hopefully those who wants to do the action research can start. Ini bulan berapa? Ini bulan 9. Can we do it at the end of the month? At the end of the month 3 minggu tak boleh. Let's say 9 mid-October boleh?
Can, insyaAllah.
InsyaAllah boleh.
Prof, before you go, Prof, I sort of like share my thoughts.
Okay. Please, please.
It's actually I posted up in the chat
Oh, ya
section.
ke? Tak nampak.
Tapi but it's I don't know whether this is very kata simplistic or too simplistic. So I'm basically looking at marketing, tourism marketing. So I find some of the students may not be responding enough to questions when pertaining to business or marketing issues.
Okay.
So I think this is very important because I need them to understand the concepts and apply to the questions that I ask. And sometimes I relate that to contemporary issues. Benda-benda yang panas lah kan. So I sometimes I don't get any responses, and this is online by the way. To me, my expectation is that I want them to be more participative and more passionate in the subject I teach.
The problem is engagement, Doctor.
Okay.
Students' engagement in whatever discussion. Okay, first of all, we want to know why they are disengaged. Because we know online a lot of challenges, but when you talk about, I want them to talk about contemporary issues in marketing, and students are not. I think students are not reading. So your other issue is why students are not reading.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's another issue. So you want to know, you want to do an action research and come up with a research question on this, because it will help you know and plan for your next class, maybe for your future classes. You want to know why they are not engaged. Is it because of me? Is it because of the materials? Is it because of the connectivity? Is it because of students not reading, or why? Okay, we need to know this, and when you do questionnaire, Doctor, students are not going to give you the answer. There will be the halo effect. They will let you know what they think you want to know. The halo effect. The good stuff. So it will not solve your problem. So the best thing is, first, maybe you want to just have a casual talk with 1, 2, or 3 students, casual talk. Not in front of everyone. This is like a conversation, personal conversation. Just tell them that, oh, this is nothing. Just I want to know about my own, my own practices. So hopefully you can, some things that you want them to be honest with you.
So it's not humor.
Yes, only by doing that you can improve the engagement of the students. Because when we talk about students' engagement, actually, I wrote in my thesis, in my PhD, on engagement alone, students' engagement. There are many dimensions of engagement. Kalau kita baca, kita ingat engagement students dengan kita kan. But there are a lot of dimensions of students' engagement in the classroom. So kita nak tahu macam mana students' engagement. It varies from person to person, from day to day, even from hari ni, let's say I'm talking like this. Besok, tomorrow when I have class, my tone is softer. Student akan tahu kenapa Dr. Faiza ni tone dia macam ni. Are you okay, doctor? You don't sound like yourself. Yang tu, if the student can actually pick that up, itu nak menunjukkan dia punya engagement dengan kita, dengan kelas kita. So that kind of responses that you need from the students, not what you want, not what they think you want to hear. Kan?
Okay. So it is like you don't have to declare that you are doing a research.
No, tak payah.
And then you capture all that.
Walaupun in a way that you are not telling the truth lah, you are doing the kan, but what you can say, maybe satu hari nanti saya nak buat a little research lah, tapi hari ni saya nak tahu, I just want to know, kan. But you are going to tell them one day, you are going to do, to help you out, to help the students out, so that they can have more focus and they can read more. walaupun kadang-kadang controversial issues ni student suka. But then bila start buka buku dia tak nak, kan? Okay, so we want to know how can we help them to actually start reading widely. Macam itulah.
So when you do this small interviews, we don't really need to record that, right?
No, tak payah record because you record tu nampak sangat lah kan. So what you can do, is you take down notes, unless after that you go back to the students. I really like your responses the other day lah. Can we talk more about this in another session? And maybe I would like to record what macam tu lah. You know, you build up little by little. Jangan sekali ghost macam tu, students will be afraid. Dia akan lari. They will not tell you the truth.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So rasanya tak ada lagi kot. Terima kasih Dr. Madiha. Okay. I think that is all that I can share with you. InsyaAllah, we are going to have more sharing session. It is good for me too because it will help me to think of your own issues, not only my issues in the Kuliah of Education. So thank you very much for listening for me today. Inshallah, we will meet at other times with more intellectual discourse.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Faiza, for lending us your time and then sharing your expertise with us.
Tak ada lah expert mana pun, sikit-sikit je.
And I would like to extend this thank to all who here today. So inshallah, we'll extend the invitation again sometime near middle of October. Yes. So we can have another round of exchange and discuss. Inshallah. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum. We will end our session with 1 hour.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you.
Gambar. Wait.
Gambar. Baik. Gambar lu.
If you can turn
Waalaikumsalam, Dr. Faiza.
You can turn
Ada tadi buku nak cakap dengan you, boleh?
Kami gambar je.
Ya Allah,
sharing. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, okay, I am here. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, one more. Inshallah. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. You're welcome. Nah, nanti kita cakap nah.
Ya. Okay.
Alright.
Baik. Dr. Syamsul, ambil nak recorded boleh?
Boleh, insyaAllah. I will share.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Terima kasih.
Dr. Sam, how to contact Prof? Can we contact through email or any phone number?
I can give you the email, but I'll ask her permission to share her phone number.
Okay, alright.
So I will ask the permission first.
Alright, okay.
Thank you everyone. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you, Dr. Sam. Okay.